Hello, everyone. I'm Natasha, your host for today. If this is your first time here, I'm glad to have you. On this channel, we upload daily English learning videos designed to help you speak better, sound more natural, and become more confident in real conversations. In today's episode, you will not only sharpen your listening and speaking skills, but also develop a deeper understanding of how English is used in real-life situations. We're focusing on a very useful and practical topic: advanced English phrases that are used in daily life for fluent speaking. These are not the usual beginner-level phrases you may already know. Instead, we'll explore natural, fluent expressions that native speakers actually use every day, whether they're chatting with friends, dealing with unexpected moments, or just expressing how they feel. Throughout the lesson, I'll share practical examples that will show you how to use these phrases in real conversations. This is one of the most effective ways to train your brain to think in English and respond quickly and naturally. By the end of the video, you'll be more confident using advanced daily life phrases. And I'll also share some practice exercises to help you remember and use them correctly. If you want to become fluent and speak English like it's second nature, this lesson is for you. And before we dive into it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss another English learning session like this. Now, get comfortable, maybe grab a notebook, and let's begin. Welcome again to another immersive English lesson. Today, we are diving deep into the world of advanced phrases, phrases that you can use in your daily life to sound more fluent, more confident, and more like a native speaker. Many English learners feel stuck using the same basic expressions again and again, like "I'm fine," "That's good," or "I don't know." While these are perfectly correct, they can make your English sound flat or repetitive. What you need is a fresh set of powerful, natural phrases, phrases that make your conversation smoother and more engaging. Imagine being able to respond like a native speaker in the middle of a casual chat, a work discussion, or even during a sudden problem. That's what we are going to practice together today. Let's start with a common daily situation: making plans. Instead of saying "let's meet," you can say, "Why don't we catch up later?" Or, "Shall we touch base this evening?" These are casual, yet professional ways to suggest meeting someone. Catch up means to meet and talk about recent events. It's often used between friends or colleagues. For example, if your friend calls and says, "Hey, I'm in town today," you can reply, "Great. Why don't we catch up later?" It sounds friendly, fluent, and natural. Now let's practice this with a small exercise. Imagine your friend texts you, "I'm free after 6 today." Instead of saying, "Okay, we can meet," respond like this: "Perfect. Let's catch up around 7, if that works for you." Say it out loud with me. "Perfect. Let's catch up around 7, if that works for you." Notice how polite and natural it sounds? Repeat it a couple of times until you feel confident. Next, let's talk about expressing uncertainty or giving yourself some time to think. Instead of saying, "I don't know," try saying, "I'm not quite sure at the moment," or "Let me get back to you on that." These phrases are often used in daily conversations, especially when you're speaking with colleagues, clients, or even friends. For example, if someone asks you, "Do you know the schedule for next week?" and you're unsure, you can say, "Let me check and get back to you." It shows that you're polite and responsible. Let's try it now. Imagine someone asks, "Do you know when the meeting starts?" Repeat this response after me. "I'm not quite sure at the moment. Let me double check." And get back to you. Say it out loud slowly. Then again, a little faster. Practice saying it with confidence. You'll notice that your English starts to feel more professional and fluent. When you use phrases like this, moving on to another daily situation, reacting to good news, most learners say that's good or nice. But fluent speakers often say things like, "That's fantastic news," or "I'm really happy to hear that." These phrases carry more emotion and energy. Imagine a friend tells you, "I got promoted at work." Don't just say nice. Try saying, "That's fantastic news." Congratulations! It makes the conversation more lively and expressive. Let's do another short exercise. Your classmate says, "I passed my final exam." Practice your response. "Wow, that's amazing! I'm so happy for you." Say it aloud with enthusiasm. Let's repeat. "Wow, that's amazing! I'm so happy for you." Feel the difference in how expressive it sounds. That's how fluent speakers sound in daily conversations. Now let's look at how to politely give opinions. Beginners often say, "I think," but fluent speakers use more elegant alternatives such as, "in my opinion," or "from my perspective." For example, instead of saying, "I think it's not a good idea," you can say, "From my perspective, it might not be the best option." It softens the opinion and makes it sound respectful and thoughtful. Here's a quick practice exercise. Imagine your friend says, "I'm thinking of quitting my job without a backup plan." You could respond, "Well, from my perspective, it might be better to find something first before resigning." Try saying that aloud with me. "Well, from my perspective, it might be better to find something first before resigning." This way, you're offering your opinion without sounding harsh. Now let's work on some natural ways to say you're busy. Rather than just saying, "I'm busy," fluent speakers say things like, "I'm tied up at the moment," or "My schedule's pretty packed today." These phrases are commonly used in daily life, especially when you're trying to politely say no or reschedule something. Let's say someone asks, "Can we meet today?" and you're busy. You can reply, "I'd love to, but I'm tied up all day today. Can we try tomorrow?" Now, say this response with me. "I'd love to, but I'm tied up all day today. Can we try tomorrow?" Again, "I'd love to, but I'm tied up all day today. Can we try tomorrow?" Practicing these expressions regularly will help you speak fluently in any social situation. Let's now focus on how fluent speakers start conversations. Instead of simply saying, "How are you?" try using expressions like, "How's everything going?" or "What have you been up to lately?" These questions make the conversation feel more personal and warm. If a friend hasn't seen you in a while and asks, "How have you been?" you can reply with something like, "Pretty good, just keeping busy. What about you?" It's casual and very natural. Let's practice this small conversation together. I'll say the first line, and you respond after me. I say, "Hey, what have you been up to lately?" You say, "Pretty good, just keeping busy." "What about you?" Let's do it again. "Hey, what have you been up to lately?" Your turn. "Pretty good, just keeping busy." "What about you?" With enough repetition, these phrases will become part of your active vocabulary. Finally, in this section, let's talk about how fluent speakers express agreement or disagreement. Instead of just saying, yes or no. They use phrases like, I couldn't agree more, or I see your point, but I think. These sound much more natural and thoughtful. For example, in a group discussion, someone says, I think we should move the deadline forward. You can reply, I see your point, but I think we might need more time to prepare. That sounds respectful and professional. Try saying this with me. I see your point, but I think we might need more time to prepare. Now a second time, a bit faster. I see your point, but I think we might need more time to prepare. These kinds of phrases help you stay engaged in conversations, especially in work or academic settings. Let's now explore another area where advanced phrases are extremely helpful. Showing empathy or understanding someone's feelings. Instead of using simple phrases like, that's sad or I'm sorry, you can say, that must be really tough, or I can't imagine how hard that must be for you. These types of expressions help you connect better with the person you're talking to. They are especially useful in conversations with friends, family members, or colleagues going through something emotional or difficult. For example, if someone tells you, I didn't get the job I interviewed for, instead of replying with just, oh, that's too bad, you could say, I'm really sorry to hear that. That must be frustrating after all the preparation. These phrases show not only your understanding of the situation, but also emotional intelligence, which is a key part of fluent and natural communication. Let's try a practice response now. Imagine your friend says, my vacation got canceled last minute. Say this out loud with me. Oh no, that must be really disappointing. You were looking forward to it. Again, say it slowly. Oh no, that must be really disappointing. You were looking forward to it. Notice how this sounds warmer and more caring than a simple sorry. Now let's move into another useful situation, offering help or support. While you could say, can I help you? Or do you need help? Those are very basic and sometimes sound too direct. Instead, try using phrases like, would you like a hand with that? Or, let me know if there's anything I can do. These sound more natural and are often used in workplaces, schools, or even at home. For example, if your coworker is carrying too many files, you can say, would you like a hand with those? It's polite, helpful, and conversational. Let's do a practice dialogue. I'll say the first part and you repeat the response. I say, hey, I've got a lot of reports to finish today. You say, let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Say it again. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Repeat it a few times so that it becomes natural for you to say it in your real conversations. Now, let's talk about politely declining an invitation or request. Beginners usually say things like, I can't come, or I'm busy. But fluent speakers use more graceful alternatives such as, I'd love to, but I've already made other plans. Or, thanks for the invite, but I won't be able to make it this time. These expressions are soft and respectful, and they maintain the tone of the conversation without sounding too abrupt or negative. For instance, if a colleague invites you to a dinner party and you're unavailable, you can say, that sounds lovely, but unfortunately, I've got something else lined up. Let's practice that. Say this out loud with me. That sounds lovely, but unfortunately, I've got something else lined up. Again. That sounds lovely, but unfortunately, I've got something else lined up. These small changes can make a huge difference in how fluent and polite you sound in English. Let's now focus on expressing surprise or interest. Most learners say things like, "Really?" or "Oh, wow." But there are more expressive and advanced options you can use, like, "You're kidding," or "No way, that's incredible." These phrases add energy and emotion to your conversations, making them feel more engaging and lively. For example, if someone says, "I just won a free trip to Japan," you can respond, "No way, that's incredible. How did that happen? Let's practice. Say it with me. No way, that's incredible. How did that happen?" Again, with emotion. "No way, that's incredible. How did that happen?" Remember, your tone is also important. Sound surprised and interested when you say it. Now let's explore phrases used when asking for clarification. Instead of simply saying, "What?" or "Can you repeat that?" try saying, "Sorry, I didn't quite catch that," or "Would you mind saying that again?" These expressions are softer, more polite, and often used by fluent speakers when they want something repeated. For instance, if you're on a phone call and the other person speaks too quickly, you can say, "Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you say it again? Let's practice that. Repeat after me. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you say it again?" And again, slowly. "Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you say it again?" These phrases will help you stay polite and professional in your conversations. Next, let's focus on how to express confusion, or when something is unclear to you. Instead of saying, "I don't understand," try saying, "I'm not following," or "Could you clarify that for me?" These phrases are great when you're in meetings, lectures, or learning environments. For example, if someone explains a new process at work and you don't understand it completely, say, "I'm not quite following. Could you walk me through it once more?" Say that with me now. "I'm not quite following. Could you walk me through it once more?" Repeat. "I'm not quite following. Could you walk me through it once more?" These types of expressions show that you're trying to understand and are willing to learn. Let's now move to phrases that are useful when transitioning topics in conversation. Instead of saying, "By the way," which is very common, fluent speakers also say, "Speaking of which," or "That reminds me." These are excellent for making your conversations flow naturally. For example, if your friend is talking about a movie and it reminds you of a similar experience, you can say, "Speaking of movies, did you watch the new release last weekend?" This helps the conversation feel seamless and connected. Practice this sentence. "Speaking of movies, did you watch the new release last weekend?" One more time. "Speaking of movies, did you watch the new release last weekend?" These small but powerful linking phrases add rhythm and smoothness to your speech. Let's now work on how fluent speakers make suggestions. Instead of saying, "You should do this," which can sound too direct, you can use expressions like, "Have you thought about," or "Maybe you could try." These are softer and invite collaboration. For instance, if your friend is stressed about work, you can say, "Have you thought about taking a short break or going for a walk?" It sounds friendly and helpful, not pushy. Repeat this suggestion with me. "Have you thought about taking a short break or going for a walk?" Once more. "Have you thought about taking a short break or going for a walk?" These phrases are ideal for giving advice without sounding like you're giving orders. And now, let's practice some phrases you can use when you're not sure what to say, but want to keep the conversation going. Fluent speakers use fillers like, let me think, or that's a good question, or even, I haven't thought about that before. These give you a moment to organize your thoughts without breaking the flow of conversation. For example, if someone asks, what's your opinion on remote work? And you need a moment to respond, say, that's a good question. I haven't really thought about that before, but I guess it depends on the person. Try it now. That's a good question. I haven't really thought about that before, but I guess it depends on the person. One more time. That's a good question. I haven't really thought about that before, but I guess it depends on the person. These expressions show that you are thoughtful and engaged in the conversation. Let's now look at how fluent English speakers express disappointment or frustration. These situations come up in daily life all the time. Missed buses, canceled plans, late deliveries. And instead of just saying, I'm sad or I'm angry, there are more natural and expressive phrases you can use. For example, instead of saying I'm upset, you could say, that's really frustrating, or I was so let down. These phrases are useful when you want to describe your feelings in a more advanced way. Let's say your online order arrives broken. Rather than simply saying, I'm angry, you might say, I was so disappointed. I waited all week and it arrived damaged. These are the kinds of expressions that help you sound more fluent and emotionally aware. Let's do a practice sentence now. Say this out loud with me. That's really frustrating. I was counting on that package to arrive on time. Again, that's really frustrating. I was counting on that package to arrive on time. This type of phrasing adds emotion and depth to your communication. Now, let's move to phrases that fluent speakers use to describe relief or satisfaction. When something works out in the end, or when a difficult situation is resolved. Native speakers often say things like, that's a huge relief, or I'm glad that's over. These phrases are great when you want to express that a problem is finally behind you. For example, imagine you finish a difficult exam. You could say, that was intense, but I'm glad it's done. Or, phew, that's a huge relief. I've been stressing about that all week. Practice this with me. Phew, that's a huge relief. I've been stressing about that all week. Again, with feeling. Phew, that's a huge relief. I've been stressing about that all week. These emotional responses are very natural in real conversations and make your English sound more human. Now let's focus on how fluent speakers express surprise at learning new information. Instead of just saying, really, or, oh, you can say things like, that's news to me, or, I had no idea. For example, if a friend tells you a mutual friend has moved to another city and you didn't know, you might say, that's news to me. When did that happen? These responses make your conversations more dynamic. Let's do a quick practice. Say this. That's news to me. I had no idea they were moving. Again. That's news to me. I had no idea they were moving. With practice, you'll start using these phrases naturally in your daily conversations. Now let's work on advanced ways to express excitement. While I'm excited is okay. More fluent alternatives include, I'm really looking forward to it, or I can't wait. For example, if someone asks if you're going to a concert this weekend, you could say, yes, I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. These are great expressions to use when you want to share positive feelings about future events. Let's practice this now. Repeat after me. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing. Again, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing. These expressions help you add energy and positivity to your conversations. Next, let's learn some advanced ways to say you agree with someone. While I agree is fine, it's often better to use alternatives like, that makes sense, or you're absolutely right. These are softer and more conversational. For example, in a discussion about how busy life can be, you can say, you're absolutely right. It's hard to find time for yourself these days. Practice that now. You're absolutely right. It's hard to find time for yourself these days. Again, you're absolutely right. It's hard to find time for yourself these days. These phrases are excellent when participating in discussions, especially when you want to show understanding and empathy. Let's now turn to phrases fluent speakers use to disagree politely. Saying, I don't agree, can sometimes sound harsh, especially in a group conversation. Instead, use softer expressions like, I see it a bit differently, or, I'm not sure I agree, but I understand your point. For instance, if someone says, I think social media is always a waste of time, and you feel differently, you can say, I get what you mean, but I think it depends on how you use it. Try this now. I get what you mean, but I think it depends on how you use it. Say it again. I get what you mean, but I think it depends on how you use it. These expressions help you stay polite and respectful, even when your opinion differs. Now, let's move on to describing frequency or habits in fluent English. Instead of saying, I do this every day, fluent speakers might say, it's part of my daily routine, or I make a habit of it. These phrases are very common in conversations about lifestyle or personal development. For example, instead of saying, I exercise every morning, you might say, I've made morning workouts part of my daily routine. Let's practice that. Say this aloud. I've made morning workouts part of my daily routine. Again, I've made morning workouts part of my daily routine. Using these phrases shows maturity in your expression and helps you sound more like a native speaker. Let's talk now about phrases for time management or being busy. Fluent speakers often use expressions like, I've been swamped, or it's been a hectic week. These phrases sound much more natural than simply saying, I'm busy. For instance, after a long week, you might say, it's been nonstop lately. I could really use a break. Repeat this with me. It's been nonstop lately. I could really use a break. Again, it's been nonstop lately. I could really use a break. These are great to use when catching up with someone after a busy period. Now, let's discuss how fluent speakers show that they're unsure about a decision. Rather than saying, I don't know what to do, you can say, I'm torn, or I'm on the fence about it. For example, if you're unsure whether to take a new job offer, you might say, I'm on the fence. It's a great opportunity, but I'm not sure I'm ready to move. Try saying this. I'm on the fence. It's a great opportunity, but I'm not sure I'm ready to move. Again, slowly. I'm on the fence. It's a great opportunity, but I'm not sure I'm ready to move. These kinds of phrases help express your inner thought process more clearly and fluently. Now let's explore how fluent speakers describe being tired or drained. Saying, I'm tired is okay, but there are more vivid and expressive ways to say it, such as, I'm worn out, I'm running on empty, or I'm completely drained. After a long day at work, a native speaker might say, I'm totally wiped. I just want to relax and do nothing. Repeat this phrase with me. I'm totally wiped. I just want to relax and do nothing. One more time. I'm totally wiped. I just want to relax and do nothing. These expressions will help you sound more fluent and also more colorful in your everyday speech. Finally, for this part, let's practice describing excitement about upcoming plans. Instead of just saying, I'm excited, try using, it's going to be a blast, or I'm counting down the days. For instance, if you're talking about a weekend trip, you could say, I'm counting down the days. It's going to be a blast. Let's say it together. I'm counting down the days. It's going to be a blast. Again, I'm counting down the days. It's going to be a blast. These enthusiastic expressions are commonly used by native speakers and will make your speaking feel more vibrant and real. Let's now look at some advanced expressions for expressing gratitude. Saying thank you is always polite, but fluent speakers often use alternatives depending on the situation. For example, instead of simply saying thanks, you might hear, I really appreciate it, much appreciated, or I can't thank you enough. These variations allow you to match the tone of the moment. For instance, if someone helps you complete a project or supports you during a tough time, saying, I really appreciate your help, it meant a lot to me, sounds much more heartfelt than a simple thanks. Let's try this together. Say it with me. I really appreciate your help. It meant a lot to me. Again, slowly and with emotion. I really appreciate your help. It meant a lot to me. When you add feeling to your expressions, your fluency becomes more natural and genuine. These expressions are great in both professional and personal settings. Now let's talk about some expressions for showing that you understand someone's situation. Rather than just saying, I know, or I understand, fluent speakers use phrases like, I know exactly how you feel, or I've been there myself. These expressions show deeper empathy and emotional awareness. For example, if a friend says, I've been really overwhelmed with work, you can say, I totally get that. I've been there myself. It's not easy to manage everything. Try that with me. I totally get that. I've been there myself. It's not easy to manage everything. Again, I totally get that. I've been there myself. It's not easy to manage everything. These are phrases you can use to build stronger connections and express genuine understanding in everyday conversations. Now let's explore phrases for giving encouragement. Fluent speakers don't just say good job or well done. They often use more expressive language like, you nailed it, that was impressive, or keep up the great work. These phrases are often used to motivate others, whether it's a coworker who gave a presentation or a friend who accomplished a personal goal. For example, if someone finishes their first public speech, you might say, you nailed it! I'm really proud of how confident you were. Let's say this together. You nailed it! I'm really proud of how confident you were. Again, you nailed it! I'm really proud of how confident you were. These encouraging phrases are useful in daily life and help you build positive relationships with others. Now, let's talk about expressing regrets in more fluent ways. Instead of saying, sorry, or I made a mistake, fluent speakers often use phrases like, I should have done it differently, or, looking back, I realize I was wrong. These expressions help you take responsibility and show reflection. For instance, if you missed a deadline at work, you can say, looking back, I realize I should have planned my time better. Repeat after me. Looking back, I realize I should have planned my time better. Again, looking back, I realize I should have planned my time better. Using these phrases helps you sound mature and professional in both personal and workplace conversations. Let's now move into expressing uncertainty in decision-making. Instead of saying, I don't know, you can use phrases like, I'm still weighing my options, or I haven't made up my mind yet. These are perfect for situations where you're still considering different possibilities. For example, if someone asks, are you going to apply for that new position? You might say, I haven't made up my mind yet. I'm still thinking it over. Say this with me. I haven't made up my mind yet. I'm still thinking it over. Once more. I haven't made up my mind yet. I'm still thinking it over. These are natural and fluent expressions that reflect how native speakers communicate daily. Now let's focus on how to express something indirectly or politely. Sometimes we need to speak carefully, especially when the topic is sensitive. Instead of saying, you're wrong, or that's a bad idea, fluent speakers say things like, I see where you're coming from, but, or, have you considered another way to approach this? These help you offer your point of view without sounding aggressive or disrespectful. Let's try an example. A colleague says, I think we should cancel the whole event. You could reply, I see where you're coming from, but maybe there's a way to adjust things instead of canceling. Now say it with me. I see where you're coming from, but maybe there's a way to adjust things instead of canceling. This is how fluent speakers navigate delicate topics with diplomacy. Let's now look at common expressions for expressing surprise or disbelief. You may already use really or wow, but more fluent alternatives include that caught me off guard, I wasn't expecting that, or you've got to be kidding me. For example, if someone tells you they won the lottery, you might say, you've got to be kidding me. That's unbelievable. Let's practice that sentence. You've got to be kidding me. That's unbelievable. Again, you've got to be kidding me. That's unbelievable. These are useful when you're genuinely surprised or amazed. Let's talk now about handling awkward situations. Fluent speakers often use phrases to ease tension or change the subject smoothly. Instead of saying nothing or freezing, you could say, anyway, moving on, or let's not dwell on that. These phrases are helpful when the conversation gets uncomfortable and you want to keep things positive. For example, if someone brings up a mistake in a meeting, you can say, let's not dwell on that. We've learned from it and we'll do better next time. Say this with me. Let's not dwell on that. We've learned from it and we'll do better next time. Again, let's not dwell on that. We've learned from it and we'll do better next time. These expressions help you guide the conversation forward without creating conflict. Now, let's explore how fluent speakers use idiomatic expressions in daily life. Idioms are a great way to make your English sound more colorful and natural. For example, instead of saying I'm very busy, you can say, I've got a lot on my plate. Instead of I'm very tired, say I'm running on fumes. These idioms are not only more vivid, but also very common in spoken English. Let's try a couple together. Repeat after me. I've got a lot on my plate right now, but I'll manage. Again, I've got a lot on my plate right now, but I'll manage. Now another one. I'm running on fumes. I need a good night's sleep. Repeat. I'm running on fumes. I need a good night's sleep. Idioms like these make your English feel more native-like and spontaneous. Now let's practice how fluent speakers talk about goals and achievements. Instead of just saying, I want to do this, You can use phrases like, I'm working toward, or my goal is to. For example, instead of, I want to improve my English, you could say, I'm working toward becoming fluent in English within the next year. This kind of phrasing shows seriousness and direction. Practice this sentence. I'm working toward becoming fluent in English within the next year. One more time. I'm working toward becoming fluent in English within the next year. It sounds confident and focused. To close this section, let's focus on how fluent speakers talk about habits they want to change. Instead of saying, I have a bad habit, you can say, I'm trying to break the habit of, or I've been working on changing. For example, I've been working on changing my habit of procrastinating. It's a very fluent way of expressing personal development. Let's say that together. I've been working on changing my habit of procrastinating. Again, I've been working on changing my habit of procrastinating. These types of reflections are often part of daily conversations, especially when people talk about personal growth. Let's now focus on some phrases fluent speakers use when talking about changes in plans. Life is unpredictable, and plans often shift, so it's useful to know how to express that naturally. Instead of simply saying, I changed my plans, fluent speakers say things like, something came up, I had to reschedule, or plans have shifted a bit. For example, if you had planned to meet a friend but now can't make it, you could say, I'm so sorry, something came up last minute and I won't be able to make it. It sounds polite, realistic, and is commonly used in daily conversations. Let's practice this response. I'm so sorry, something came up last minute and I won't be able to make it. Again, I'm so sorry, something came up last minute and I won't be able to make it. These types of phrases show that you can handle situations smoothly while maintaining respect in communication. Now, let's talk about confirming or double-checking plans. Instead of always saying okay or sure, fluent speakers might say just to confirm or does that still work for you? These are especially helpful when you're making or following up on appointments. For example, just to confirm, we're still meeting at 3, right? This adds clarity and keeps communication clear. Say this sentence with me. Just to confirm, we're still meeting at 3, right? Once again, just to confirm, we're still meeting at 3, right? Phrases like this are subtle but important for professional and social conversations. Let's now shift to expressing agreement with enthusiasm. While yes is the go-to response, fluent speakers often use phrases like absolutely, for sure, or no doubt about it. These expressions sound more lively and positive. If someone says, that movie was amazing, wasn't it? Instead of saying yes, you could say, absolutely. I loved every minute of it. Repeat after me. Absolutely. I loved every minute of it. Again, absolutely. I loved every minute of it. These kinds of enthusiastic phrases help you sound more engaged and expressive. Next, we'll look at ways to interrupt someone politely, which is often necessary in conversations, but needs to be done gently. Instead of saying, wait, or interrupting suddenly, fluent speakers say things like, sorry to jump in, or, if I may add something. For example, in a discussion, you could say, sorry to jump in, but I just wanted to mention something quickly. This keeps the conversation respectful. Practice this phrase. Sorry to jump in, but I just wanted to mention something quickly. Again, sorry to jump in, but I just wanted to mention something quickly. These phrases are especially helpful in meetings or group conversations. Let's now talk about ending conversations naturally. Instead of saying just bye, fluent speakers use phrases like, "It was great catching up," or "Let's stay in touch." These closings leave a warm impression and show appreciation for the conversation. For example, after chatting with a friend, you can say, "It was great catching up. Let's not wait so long next time." Say this aloud. "It was great catching up. Let's not wait so long next time." Repeat. "It was great catching up. Let's not wait so long next time." This helps you sound more thoughtful and friendly at the end of a conversation. Let's now practice describing routines or habits in a more advanced way. Instead of saying, "I go to the gym every day," fluent speakers might say, "Hitting the gym has become part of my daily routine," or "I make it a point to stay active every day." These add depth to your sentence and reflect a fluent style. Try this one with me. "Hitting the gym has become part of my daily routine." One more time. "Hitting the gym has become part of my daily routine." These little shifts in how you express habits make your English feel more advanced. Let's now explore how fluent speakers soften their opinions or suggestions. Instead of saying, "You should do this," which can sound forceful, they say, "You might want to consider," or "It could be helpful to." For instance, if someone is stressed, instead of saying, "You should take a break," you could say, "You might want to consider taking a short break to clear your mind." It sounds more caring and less demanding. Say this with me. "You might want to consider taking a short break to clear your mind." Again, "You might want to consider taking a short break to clear your mind." These expressions are great for both personal and professional conversations. Now let's look at phrases for showing you're unsure about something. Instead of saying maybe, fluent speakers often say, "It's hard to say," "I'm not 100% sure," or "That's still up in the air." For example, when asked about future plans, you might say, "I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm waiting to see how things go." Practice this sentence. "I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm waiting to see how things go." Again, "I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm waiting to see how things go." These types of expressions sound natural and thoughtful when you're discussing uncertain situations. Let's now practice a short conversation combining some of the phrases you've learned today. Imagine a friend says, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. What have you been up to?" You respond, "Yeah, it's been nonstop lately. I've had a lot on my plate with work, but I'm hanging in there." Your friend replies, "That sounds stressful. You should take some time for yourself." You say, "You might be right. I've been thinking about taking a short trip to recharge." This kind of conversation sounds fluent and relatable. Now let's go over it again. Friend, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. What have you been up to?" You, "Yeah, it's been nonstop lately. I've had a lot on my plate with work, but I'm hanging in there." Friend, "That sounds stressful. You should take some time for yourself." You might be right. I've been thinking about taking a short trip to recharge." Keep practicing small conversations like these out loud. It helps turn passive knowledge into active speaking skills. To help lock in what we've covered, let's do a quick fluency practice with you, repeating some of today's advanced daily life phrases. I'll say each phrase, and you repeat after me. Ready? Let me get back to you on that. I'm tied up at the moment. From my perspective, that might not be the best option. That must be tough. I'm here for you. Would you like a hand with that? I see your point, but I think we need more time. I'm really looking forward to it. That caught me off guard. I'm still weighing my options. It was great catching up. Let's talk again soon. Repeat each of these multiple times on your own after the video. Repetition builds fluency. As we reach the end of today's lesson, remember that learning advanced English phrases is not just about memorizing them, it's about understanding how and when to use them in context. Real-life situations give these phrases meaning, so challenge yourself to use a few of them in your conversations this week. Speak them out loud, write them in a journal, say them to yourself in the mirror. The more you use them, the more natural they will feel. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Fluency comes from practice, not perfection. If you've made it to the end of this lesson, give yourself a big pat on the back. You're clearly committed to improving your English, and every step you take matters. The goal isn't just to sound fluent, it's to feel fluent. You want English to come out of your mouth smoothly, confidently, and naturally, just like it does in your native language. That's completely possible with the right tools, the right practice, and the right guidance. And that's why we're here. Before we say goodbye, make sure you've subscribed to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a lesson. We upload videos every day to help you move closer to fluency step by step. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and as always, I'll see you in the next lesson. Take care and happy learning.